Good evening and welcome to the February 14th meeting of the Beavercreek Parks, Recreation and Culture Board, and happy Valentine's Day, everybody. I'm sure you're spending your romantic evening out watching the park board. So thanks for joining us. I hereby call this meeting to order, and we'll start with a roll call, Jackie. This should be quick.
Mr. Corbett?
Here.
Mrs. Fulcher?
Here.
Mrs. Heaton, Mrs. Bedigari, and Mrs. Meyer are not with us this evening.
All right, thank you, Jackie. So just me and Sharon in charge here tonight.
Excuse me.
So we've got before us a copy of the agenda for tonight's meeting. Does it look okay to you?
I approve it.
All right, we're gonna. Right. So that's why we were going informal with that. So we'll unofficially approve that, the two of us, and move on. Same with the meetings here, Jackie. Appreciate you meeting minutes. Appreciate you putting those together from the last meeting. They look pretty good to me, but without a quorum, we can't officially motion to approve. So that part will be short. So we'll get right into the staff report. And welcome Superintendent Farrell.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate that. So the staff's report this evening is our annual goals. So our staff, during budget time, we put together our goals for the upcoming year, so I would like to share those with you this evening. And something different this time around. So City Council meets in August-ish each year and kind of develops what they would like to see in the future. So when they met in the summer of 2022, talk about 2023 and, again, just what they would like to see, where they see the city going. And they developed 5 strategic priorities. We have them up there. So, again, this is not just for parks, but it covers all city departments. So their first goal was diversifying and creating sustainable revenue sources, engaging and informing the community, planning for infrastructure, right-sized workforce, family-friendly parks. So each department or each division looked at all of those goals and said, all right, well, obviously within parks, planning for infrastructure, that's not something that Parks and Recreation does. So planning and zoning would have capitalized on that goal. So we looked at all of those, and so each department formed their goals around the council's strategic priorities. And if you recall, last fall, we also discussed within the Parks and Recreation Department, we have overarching goals, and so those main goals stay the same every single year, but we have objectives to reach those goals. So not only are we looking at overall Parks and Recreation and culture, our overarching goals, but we're matching it up to City Council strategic priorities. So under the City Council priorities, it was the right-sized workforce and diversified and sustainable revenue. That matches up to our first goal, which is effective management and efficient operations, utilizing efficient proactive management of staff and fiscally sound strategies to promote an informed population and a safe environment in parks. So this year, we'll be creating a maintenance plan for our new strength equipment at the senior center, and Aaron will share that a little later during our division report. But this also talks about, so we have brand new strength training equipment, so including daily, weekly, and monthly tasks and maintaining that equipment. Creating a parks maintenance volunteer handbook. We have a phenomenal volunteer base, which we'll see in April when we're here recognizing all of our volunteers, but put together a handbook, orientation, and a training program to help those volunteers, and to develop a seasonal employment recruitment program. So just as a side note, and I know Aaron will mention it again, but we can't mention it enough, we are currently hiring seasonal employees for all of our divisions. Still staying underneath that goal, establish contact with local universities for higher education partnerships. So again, just reaching out to all the local universities. We have tremendous university colleges in the area with a lot of great students that we can match up to what our goals are and what we're trying to accomplish, whether it's in Parks and Recreation, at the senior center, on the golf course, but just to be able to match up our local talent. Partnering with the engineering division to build and utilize GIS mapping. So again, we're all about efficiencies, and is there something that we can do as we look at our park maps or anything else throughout the city to map out the efficiencies of where we're going each day to mow, to landscape, and we have a work order management system just to match everything up. We want to enhance our volunteer program with a refreshed list of potential volunteers. Again, we're always looking for volunteers, senior center, parks maintenance, the golf course, so throughout. So if anybody's really interested in volunteering, if that was their New Year's resolution for 2023, call the Parks Department. We do want to recruit 10 new volunteers in transportation, and analyze our audience and determine marketing outreach strategy. So again, get the information out of everything that we're doing, but just make sure we're reaching the right people. We keep hearing it's like, I didn't know you did that. Well, how can we reach the people who we're trying to reach, which is always a struggle. Under family-friendly parks, the first goal there is quality parks and recreation facilities. I'm not going to read the rest of the paragraph. You can certainly see that on the screen. But some of the objectives underneath there is creating wellness goals for Beavercreek in coordination with Greene County Public Health. Make improvements based on the 2022 fish study at Dominic Lefino Park. So again, we did a study out at on the lake. We got an idea of the fish that are out there, the health of the fish, the health of the pond, and they gave us some suggestions of like restocking, putting some habitats in the pond. So we'll be working on that throughout the spring as well. And making 8A improvements at the park and recreation facilities. Again, that's a plan that we had finished in 2022. We began working on in 2021, and that is a 10, 11-year plan. But we're continually chip away at that each year. Improved connectivity. So in fact, we finished up the hiking trails at Cinnamon Ridge Park. Again, it's maybe like a nice mile loop, but that was finished up just a few weeks ago. And create standard operating procedures for trail establishment. So again, in any survey that we've done throughout the community, hiking trails, walking ranks very high. And so we've been developing longer trails, shorter trails, but again, once we do it, we actually have to maintain it. And so just to help out our staff, like, hey, here's the best way to maintain it and how to establish new trails. Attractive programs and quality experiences is another goal. And under there is establish program and engagement goals for virtual programs. This came out of, if anybody remembers, that dreaded COVID time when we did a lot of things online. But we think that there's still some opportunities for that. And so just kind of reaching out and see what we can do, because there are some people that's just like, I really enjoy the online thing. So if we can still make contact with those individuals and those groups of people, and just have a well-rounded in-person, online, however that works best for each individual. Determine young adult program needs and goals. Again, I mentioned the strength training equipment, but to create orientation and training. So Tyler, who is our senior center supervisor, went through. He's got a background in fitness, so he picked out some really great equipment. If you've not been to the senior center, that's certainly worth the trip. Take a tour, see what it's about. But every Friday, he'll be in the fitness room. You sign up for a time, and he'll show you how to work, how to use all the equipment. He is not necessarily going to set up a fitness plan for you, but he can certainly show you the equipment and maybe give you some pointers. And then implement 1 to 2 special needs inclusive programs based on our survey results. So you can see some of the equipment there in pictures. Eliminate underperforming programs based on our cost recovery goals and program matrix. So again, this past year was our first trial at cost recovery, which we found that we've been doing a really good job on creating the right prices for the right programs, and we are recovering most of the money back and capturing our goals. But then looking at that and saying, all right, well, you know what? Tiny Tot Tumbling, you're really not cutting it anymore. We keep trying. We're not meeting our goal, so that's going to be one of the programs that we might have to cut. Establish partnerships to meet nature education program goals. Double average evening attendance from 2022 at the senior center, so just adding more evening opportunities. And partner with Beavercreek Community Theater for theater in the park. so it seemed to end very abruptly. But so those are the goals, just so you know that everything that we are going to be accomplishing this year. It's not listed in here, but we also have it narrowed down to which quarter each one is going to be accomplished, and so we can kind of stay on track. So, but I am certainly happy to answer any questions that you might have.
Good job.
Fantastic, thank you.
Thank you. And then next, we'll have Aaron bringing us the division report.
Thank you. All right, so in front of you, you have our annual report from 2022, which makes sense. It's 23 now, so we can do our report on what happened in 2022. And so I'm going to highlight a few things in there for you. This will be, if you're watching live right now, this will be available on our website in the near future. For right now, our park board members do have a physical copy in front of them. In the annual report, we try to give a good overview of our division, what we've accomplished in the year, what we provide year to year as well. So one of the first pages in there highlights our wide variety of parks. We now have 24 parks, over 400 acres, and we highlighted a few of the different unique features that we have, like our 7-acre fishing lake or our art gallery, different senior center, bike hubs, all of that kind of good stuff that we've got going on to give a wide picture of all of the different opportunities you have in Beavercreek in your parks. And then our mission in the Parks, Recreation, and Culture Division is to deliver recreational experiences that enhance quality of life. The overarching vision for our division is to building a happy and healthy community by connecting people to quality parks, engaging programs, and unique events. So some of our core values are connectivity, health and wellness, inclusion, collaboration, safety, and leadership. And hopefully you see those values running through those goals that Kim just shared with you all, as well as kind of running through the themes of the strategic priorities that City Council set. So now that they have those, we're really trying to kind of mesh and meld everything together citywide. So the first few pages after that in your annual report, we'll talk about financials. Our city budget is always available every year on the city's website, and this really breaks down if you want to get into the nitty-gritty of our financials. But a few things I wanted to highlight. You'll see the revenue and expenses up over $4 million for 2022, and in large part, that increase and I show that's an increase of $1.52 million on the revenue side from 2021 to 22, and on the expense side, an increase of over $2 million. That's because of that acquisition of the new parkland, that new 148 acres that we received grant monies for, and that we purchased with some of our money as well, those fees in lieu of land that we used that could only be used for the development of new parkland. But that's why you see all of a sudden it looks like, oh, in 2022 we had this huge increase in revenue and expense. Well, not really. That was, because of the new parkland. So you will see the biggest amount of our revenue, that $1.69 million, is through the property tax levy that the residents have so generously supported for us in the past. And then our biggest expense item is personnel, which is quite typical in industries like ours. And we do have a fund balance of just over 20%, which is the goal citywide that City Council has set for our division, that we should be keeping that fund balance at 20% in case we fall on times where we need that money. Moving on over into the division accomplishments, we decided to highlight, we've got a big long list that we shared with City Council, and that was in our budget of accomplishments. We decided in the annual report to highlight our top I think there's 12 in here that we highlighted. So one of those, in 2022, we hit an all-time high of senior center memberships of over 1,600 members. I can share with you now in February of 23, we are over 1,700 members. So that number keeps growing. That is beyond our previous highs of before COVID. So of course, we dipped in the 900s. We dipped under 1,000 during COVID. So we've certainly rebounded and more. In addition, we had over 8,000 transportation trips for our seniors, which is just incredible. And we won a first place award for that transportation program from the Ohio Parks and Recreation Association, if you hadn't seen that before. So that was a big reason to pat ourselves on the back. We knew it was a wonderful program. We knew it was award worthy, but to actually get that recognition was great. And then we also added a Renew Active program. You may remember hearing about this before. It's like Silver Sneakers, but just another program like that that's supported by insurance programs. So if you've got United Healthcare, you may have Renew Active as part of your healthcare plan. And you can get a free membership from the center. Some accomplishments kind of over in the more parks and facilities type side. We acquired, of course, the 148 acres of new parkland. Still waiting on that new park name. We're excited about that and the final concept plans. We rebuilt the Tobias Zimmer Barn at Wortinger Park, of course, that had been destroyed by the tornadoes. Installed 2 new playgrounds. These were at Royal Point and at Shout Parks. Created the 6 pickleball courts. You probably remember that. On the existing tennis courts, they were resurfaced and then created to be multi-use. And then completed year 2 of our formal ADA training and improvements from that transition plan that we did during 2020. And then we also had some fun things happening on the general recreation program side. We implemented the cost recovery plan, which you've heard about, to help us better understand our costs and how to better set our fees and prioritize where our funds are going. We offered more than 10 new programs. You see one of them in the photo there of Goat Yoga. That will be coming back this year. We're excited to do that again. And in general, demand and attendance in 2022 at our programs and events was higher than ever. We listed a few examples there. We had over 600 attendees at our Winter Welcome event at Wortinger Park. And we had long waiting lists, about 30 kids every single week at Summer Day Camp. So we know that the demand is out there. We're so happy that we're able to serve our community and that they want to engage with us. We're always looking for ways that we can better meet that need. We don't want to have lots of people not able to access our programs who want to. Sharing a little bit about volunteerism, you both know that volunteers are so important to our success and to what we're able to offer the community. We had over 305 individual different volunteers that volunteered with us in 2022, and a whopping 31,970 hours. And you may remember the independent sector puts out the value of a volunteer hour. Of course, this is an estimate. Of course, it depends on what kind of work is happening, all of that. But as an idea, at their number they put out was $29.95 per hour last year. So that's over $957,000 of cost savings to the city of Beavercreek. I think that number is, incredibly impressive. Just thinking about how many different things, and you all know this, and we'll be appreciating volunteers in April. But thinking about all the ways that volunteers help in our community is just really amazing. And similarly, our sponsors, the organizations and companies and groups that give money and in-kind sponsorships to make our events possible is really amazing as well. We had over 80 different organizations, most of these private businesses in Beavercreek and surrounding communities, who support what we do and support the community by helping us put on events and programs and offer camp scholarships and all of those types of things. So we want to thank them as well. moving on over into some updates. Before I do that, does anyone have any questions about what I've shared about the annual report?
I don't have a question. I do have a couple comments. One, congratulations on a great year. I think, we've all kind of moved on from COVID, as you mentioned earlier, but to really think back, it was just a year ago when a lot of folks lifted mask mandates. It was only a year ago, right? So I think we all wondered, and as a recreation professional myself, we all wondered what it was going to look like after COVID, and I think it's easy to see how much people missed, and we're excited to be back and get involved in recreational opportunities. So you guys and staff did a great job. So congratulations.
Thank you. Okay, we did want to share a few highlights because there is a lot going on. Yes, it's February. Yes, it's cold outside, although not that cold right now. But there's a lot going on right now. So coming up, not this weekend, but the following weekend, the Day of Caring 365 Pancake Brunch. There are, host locations all over the Miami Valley for this event. The Day of Caring 365 is a nonprofit that raises money for the homeless and those in need in our community. So this is a great opportunity to come out. The Senior Center is one of the hosts. So this is at Beavercreek Senior Center. If you can't join us there, join a pancake brunch at one of the other locations. And it's just $6 for adults, $4 for seniors and children. And then they're also accepting additional monetary donations or hygiene product donations. Again, this helps people in need who might need those, might be homeless. And it is just a really fun time. It's open to the public. So even though it's at the Beavercreek Senior Center, that doesn't mean you can't go. Bring your family, bring your friends, come before or after church, before or after you read the newspaper on Sunday morning, whatever your routine is, come on out. We will be there starting at 9, and we're scheduled to stay there until 1 unless we run out of food first. So don't let that happen.
So come early.
Yeah, come early. All right, we are trying something new that we are calling Beavercreek Parks Madness. Think March Madness, but your parks. So I do want to give a shout out to one of our interns, our sports management intern from 2022, kind of put this together for us. And it's a bracket style tournament. We will be starting the very end of February. I know this is a screenshot of what it'll look like. When it actually comes out, it'll be available on our website. So you can print off your bracket and fill it out. And what it does is it pits our parks against each other so that you can pick your favorite park, and we'll get to the favorite park in Beavercreek. So each week, we'll there'll be a new matchup, and certain parks will advance in the bracket until we get to the championship game, the end of March. The way you will play is you'll go and visit one of the parks that's in the that has a game or has a match that week, and there'll be a sign out at the park with a QR code. So scan that QR code to submit your vote for that park. So each week we'll see who advances. You will notice there are a few parks who get a bye week. They already got to advance to the next round. So we're excited to see the engagement, see people getting out in their parks in March, and see people, kind of voting, see if there's a lot of competition between certain parks and see which one wins. What you can do in that first week before we announce who's moving on to the second round is you can fill out your bracket and email it to us. Everybody who emails their bracket will have a chance to win a prize, and if you have a perfect bracket, you may qualify for a grand prize. So we are excited to see your brackets. And Kim mentioned this a little bit ago. Our Cinnamon Ridge Park, you may not be familiar with this one. It's a little hidden gem for the neighborhood that surrounds it. But we did complete a nice trail. If you'd ever been there before, you were kind of finding your way, making your own trail sometimes. But we do have a trail length out and back from Platner Trail is 0.7 miles, so not quite a mile. Simple trail through the woods. And there is an area, if you go out to Cinnamon Ridge Park, off of Straight Arrow Drive, that has a small parking lot just for a couple cars. So that would be a good spot if you're not a person who lives in the neighborhood to go and park there to check out this trail. Of course, the length isn't very long. No, you're not going to be going out there to get in tons of miles. But for someone who lives in the area, or if you want a new place to discover, we're excited to offer this. Trails and connections and places to walk keep coming up in our master plan and in any of our surveys as top priority for our residents. And of course, we have volunteers needed. We always need volunteers, but springtime is coming, and so things like mulching playgrounds, like the group you see doing there, as well as doing other service projects around the parks. Our senior center transportation program is in desperate need of drivers and escorts to help with that as well. And our events will be coming up soon, so we will need volunteers for that as well. I don't think it's in this presentation. It's not, but we are hiring for seasonal employment as well. So internships, camp counselors, park maintenance, camp directors, all that good stuff. We are hiring now across the city. If Parks and Rec isn't maybe your favorite thing, but the golf course is, they are hiring as well. Our public service department is hiring. There are internships throughout the city available. So lots of opportunities for seasonal employment as well. Any questions?
So do you also promote those like through the local colleges and stuff as well? I figured you probably did.
Yes,
Cool.
but a personal word of encouragement to someone who might be interested is always appreciated and can be very valuable.
Great.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. So our next item is old business, which is typically where you share specific volunteer opportunities. I know you've talked a lot in general about needing volunteers. Do you have anything specific you'd like to share as well, Erin?
In specific, we have a special event in April. Soar into Spring is on April 29th this year. It's a Saturday from 11 to 1. And I will be seeking volunteers for that.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
Next couple items, really no new business to discuss tonight. Excuse me, for me and Sharon. Actually, no unscheduled visitors. That's the first time in like 3 months we haven't had a visitor tonight. Yeah, so they're enjoying this nice February weather, or Valentine's Day potentially. Right, it's really cut into our attendance. So moving on to action items, and as we have been throughout the last couple months. We met early tonight to continue to work on our volunteer program coming up in April, which we're really excited about. If you haven't watched this before, you should be getting the theme that volunteers are crucial to how we operate recreational programming and our recreational opportunities in this community. And we want to take some time in April to really recognize those folks that come out and donate their precious time, which leaves us with board time. And Sharon, do you have anything you'd like to say?
I just wanted to, we had talked about getting new roofs over there on the cabins at Wardinger Park, and that's, when I saw it this afternoon, that they had been started working on those roofs. That was very, very exciting to see that happening. Also, I wanted to give a shout out for the senior center. I finally went and joined. All right. I've been going to the fitness room 3 days a week.
Nice.
And the equipment is amazing. And the new equipment is even harder than the other old was. And let me tell you, Tyler's not just there on Fridays giving instructions. If you come in on any of those days, Tyler will go in and help you get started on them. So,
Well, thank you, Sharon. Yeah, a couple things. One, love the Park Madness idea. That's so much fun. I hope people take advantage of that, and I might steal that for some things. Still the idea, and I will go out and do it because I've got an underdog in mind, so I might be there every day. No, I'm just kidding. So it's a great idea. That's fun. I always love trying exciting new things. Sometimes they work, sometimes they don't, but I love thinking outside the box too. So that's pretty cool. Congratulations to your intern for coming up with that. And then I wanted to mention a couple things. One, tonight would have been Cecilia Bettigari's last meeting with us as a council member. She came on to finish someone else's term and has been a big contributor with ideas and actions over the last year or so. So we will miss Cecilia. She is not returning, but we're also excited to welcome a new member, whoever that may be, next month to the park board. So looking forward to that. And again, thank you very much, Cecilia, for everything you've done or contributed to the park board. And then lastly, I also want to mention Mike Thonero, who was the superintendent for parks when I started on park board, and has been in public works for a few years now for the city. Done, I think, a great job keeping up with all the city projects and all that road work. And I will say personally, Mike welcomed me when I started involvement here, did my tour of all the parks, and I will always appreciate Mike. I'm sure you're watching tonight, Mike. Always appreciate you being willing to take the time when I and others have questions, very patient with those questions, and always very knowledgeable in your response to any questions we had. So aside from that, I know Beavercreek's loss is Washington Township's gain. So congratulations, Washington Township, you're getting a good one. And we look forward to the next good one we have here as we move on and bring in new staff to replace Mike. So I wanted to mention that. And again, congratulations, Mike, on your new position as you lead the city of Beavercreek as an employee. As an employee, right. Even though we don't have a quorum, I will accept a motion to adjourn.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it. So meeting adjourned. Thank you. Thank you all.